All right, everybody. All right, check on into the stream. Welcome back. Welcome back. We're on day 66 of covering the war in Ukraine. I'm your host, Andrew Mercado. We're in for another 3-hour night of coverage here. We got video to go through, breaking news reports to go through, including a visit from Angelina Jolie to the city of Lviv. There's a curfew in the city of Odessa again until May 2nd. We'll be back after the short intro. We'll be getting into it. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and you like the video, and we'll be right back. All right, everybody, welcome back. Day 66 of the war in Ukraine. Again, I'm Andrew Mercado, and we are back covering the war. I was live on Facebook for an hour before this stream had began, so here we go, y'all. I'm going to read off the latest from the war in Ukraine here. Russian General Simonov was reportedly killed when Ukrainian forces struck and destroyed a Russian military compost near Izyum today. About 100 Russian soldiers were also killed, so that is the latest report of the 10th. It would be the 10th Russian general killed here in the war in Ukraine. And so let's just go into that. And this happened while I was live on Facebook, or at least the reports that came out. And again, they're reports right now. Nothing's confirmed. So National Guard units reported on April 30th that they spotted a field command post of the Russian Second Army in the area and passed the coordinates on to military whose artillery fired on the positions. More than 30 Russian armored vehicles, including tanks, were reportedly struck in the rocket salvos. President advisor Oleksiy Arestovich said in an interview published on YouTube that some 100 Russian servicemen were killed, including Simonov. 10th Russian general reportedly killed. Public domain data available on what is the U.S. equivalent of a brigadier general says that Simonov was a senior leader of the electronic warfare units. According to open source data followed by the Kyiv Post, his death would be the 10th among Russia's corps of generals in the Ukraine since February 24th. Video posted on social media showed the alleged command post being struck by what appeared to be Grad rockets fired from multiple launch rocket system or systems. 2 Russian generals were reportedly killed, according to Ukrainian authorities, in the last week of April in the occupied part of the Kherson region. It's over here. City of Kherson. The Kyiv Post hasn't been able to independently confirm any of the reported deaths, so these are just early reports. So that's how they work. Early reports start, and then you need it needs to be further reports to confirm it. So we need to wait for more on this as it just came out. Izyum is near the administrative borders of the easternmost Luhansk and Donetsk regions along the Seversky Donetsk River. Russian forces are trying to make a thrust deeper into that area known as the Donbass toward the city of Sloviansk. British intelligence reports that Russia is trying to envelop Ukrainian forces in the area. On the same day, Ukraine's military announced that Ukrainian counterattacks resulted in the liberation of 4 villages outside Kharkiv, the country's second largest city. They are Ruska, Lazova, Slobidske, Preslin, and Verkhanya Rohanka. Definitely messed all those up. Here are those cities, though, and villages that Ukrainian forces have been able to regain to the east of the city of Kharkiv. They've been able to push Russian forces back. So here's the city of Kharkiv. Here's these villages and cities that I totally butchered the names. I do apologize. As a result of the offensive, armed forces and they regained control over 4 settlements in the Kharkiv region: Verkhnya, Rohanka, Ruska, Lazova, Slobidski, and Preslin. Definitely messed those up, but those cities here. Russian full-scale invasion of the country is in its 3rd month, and it started on February 24th upon the orders of the Kremlin dictator Vladimir Putin, whose stated goal since 2014 after its first invasion to subjugate the neighboring country. Thousands of civilians and military personnel have been killed, and about a quarter of the nation's population has been uprooted from their homes in what is the European continent's biggest war since World War II. All right. Comment where you guys are tuned in from. Welcome again to Mercado Media, independent media, a viewer-funded, viewer-supported stream. Thank you to everybody that's sending super chats, becoming members, buying merch, the merch store, becoming a patron on the Patreon. Thank you, everybody, because that's how independent media makes it out here until I get a sponsor, but I don't have that yet. Hopefully this year maybe we'll get a sponsor. But until then, you guys are the ones that are carrying the platform and carrying me to the goalpost here. City of Mariupol. Actually, let's go into Angelina Jolie's visit first, since I have video of that right away. Actress and filmmaker Angelina Jolie visits a central railway station in the city of Lviv to welcome the internally displaced Ukrainians arriving on an evacuation train from Pokrovsk, a city in Donetsk Oblast, on April 30th. Angelina Jolie is a special envoy of UNHCR. Before we get into that, let's shout out our viewers. We got Garoks, Alberta, North Carolina's tuned in. How you doing? Chicago, Somerset, Kentucky, Wichita, Kansas is in the house, watching from Ontario, Canada, Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Michael, your friend from Melbourne, Australia. How you doing? Buffalo, New York. Welcome, Phoenix, Arizona. How are you guys doing today? Comment where you guys are tuned in from. All right, Angelina Jolie. Here's her visit.
But I imagine just to have a room where somebody shows that they care and is listening is so important.
Уявляю, як це допомагає, коли є кімната, де хтось слухає і показує, що
They must be in shock, and they must also, I know how trauma affects children, and so but I know that just having somebody show how much they matter, how much their voices matter, I know how healing that is for them also. But I know it also takes a toll on all of you.
І ви віддаєте багато з себе зсередині, щоб допомогти людям з їх емоціями, і це теж...
That's Angelina Jolie. And then also, while Angelina Jolie was there, the air raid alarm went off in Lviv. So, air raid alarm went off. Well, Jolie was there.
Oh, no, it's great. It just means if we don't know from
Тут знаходилися дітки, хоч вони отак знаходяться. Відкріпіть, будь ласка, їх правіше. Так. Ось тут дітки всі повністю у нас були.
420 viewers in the chat.
Робимо на максимум. І зараз діти перебувають ті, що лишилися.
Is their mom or volunteer?
Це волонтер.
I just didn't want all the crowd or the people to scare the kids. Because they're going to see them. Why are they going there?
Okay, okay.
And how old are you? Can you please?
And Angelina Jolie in Lviv, Ukraine.
Очень рад, очень welcome. Да, это не, это моя, это стрим, я блогер, моим блогер.
Oh, okay.
Да.
Right.
And then that's when the air raid alarm went off. So, Angelina Jolie visiting Lviv. Here's Lviv on the map. Western city in the country. Pull it up on the... Here's Kyiv. Here's Lviv, circling it. And again, let's look up the war map, and I'm going to show you guys something. So all of these blue markers on the country is air raid alarms in the country of Ukraine. Okay, so they're blue air raid alarms. All the fighting, so like the ground forces, the ground battles, are happening in this region here, out of Kherson, to the southeast of Mykolaiv. In this region, the Kherson, the Russian forces tried to push Mykolaiv, and they retreated, and then Mykolaiv, the Ukrainian forces actually gained another city. So they failed. Russian forces failed miserably, I think about a week ago. They're continuing their efforts here. Ground battles and fighting in Mariupol, outside the Azovstal plant. Fighting in the northern region part, the northern section that Russian forces have a stronghold over, which is like next to Donetsk, so to the west of Donetsk. Some of these cities I haven't said before. So Velika Novitsika, sorry y'all, I haven't said any of these cities yet. Julianopol, south of Kharkiv. I have not said any of those cities. I do apologize. And Kamlinsky. Those are the last cities that are left that Ukraine has. And then in the Donbass, they're fighting over these cities and villages in the Donbass region. There was the Kramatorsk railway station that was hit a couple weeks ago, and all the civilians that had been killed in that city. Let's look at some of these reports here. In Dopropelia, 7 wounded, including 3 children, as a result of a Russian army shelling. A lot of this stuff is in the city in Telegram. Welcome. Thank you so much. Gurns Goda, thank you so much for becoming a member of the channel. Dopropila. Images and here it is again on the map. I bet it is Pelia. I think it is Pelia. And let's look up this. Heavy shelling at Lyman 4 hours ago. So they're fighting over this region in the Donbass. Let's look at that video. Came from Lyman or Lyman. It's either Lyman or Lyman. Unclear. We'll get to that. All right, more news and more updates. The city of Odessa has extended curfew after recent attacks. Extended curfew in Odessa will hold from 10 p.m. on May 1st to 5 a.m. on May 3rd. Within a week, the city was attacked multiple times by Russian strikes. So let's take a look at that. Let's look at the city of Odessa. I need to turn this up a little more. It's too dark. Oops. City of Odessa on our map. How was the weather? Not good in Minnesota. Very rainy and gloomy. City of Odessa. Let's look at these reports. The runway of Odessa Airport was damaged due to a Russian rocket attack on April 30th. Its further use is impossible, per Odessa City Council. Runway of Odessa Airport damaged. Let's look at the other report in Odessa. Again, they're under curfew from 10 p.m. on May 1st to 5 a.m. on May 3rd. Several explosions near Odessa, possible air defense interceptions. This was today in Odessa. Keep in mind, it is currently 5:19 in the morning, Sunday morning in Ukraine. So this would have been Saturday, daytime Saturday. Forbes Ukraine, Russia fired missiles worth in total of at least 7.5 billion. Forbes Ukraine added that only when the class of the launched missiles was identified, the price was added into the total count. The International Planned Parenthood Federation has sent abortion pills and emergency contraception to Ukraine in response to reports of rape during Russia's invasion. The IPPF is working with our member association, Women's Health and Family Planning Ukraine, to distribute essential medicines including emergency contraception, medical abortion pills, antibiotics for sexually transmitted infections, and post-exposure prophylaxis for the prevention of HIV. We are also training healthcare providers on the clinical management of rape, as well as implementing additional psychosocial support for survivors of sexual violence, such as trauma counseling. Russian reconnaissance plane violated Swedish airspace, Stockholm says. So let's look at this article. We got activity, and keep in mind, Sweden and Finland are slated to join NATO. Sweden's defense ministry said Saturday that a Russian reconnaissance plane had briefly violated Swedish airspace just weeks before Nordic nation is expected to apply for NATO membership, which Russia opposes. A statement from the Swedish Armed Forces said the aircraft, an Antonov AN-30, was first located when it was east of Bornholm and flying towards Swedish territory. It briefly violated Swedish airspace before leaving the area. Swedish fighter jets followed the incident and photographed the plane, the defense ministry said. Swedish Defense Minister Peter Hultqvist condemned Friday's incident, which happened in the background of Sweden's anticipated application for NATO membership, which Russia is strongly opposed to. Neighboring Finland is also expected to apply. We will, of course, act diplomatically against this, Hultqvist said, according to the Aftonbladet newspaper. This action is unprofessional and, given the overall scrutiny situation, extremely inappropriate. Swedish sovereignty must always be respected. Sweden and Finland are both expected to apply for NATO membership in the coming weeks, a move that was once unthinkable. Public opinion, however, has shifted in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So I couldn't find any video, like military video, but I have, I can read this out. Antonov AN-30 aerial cartography aircraft. Close that. Oops. Ah, dang it. Alright, gonna have to look that up again. Hold on. I closed the wrong one. I'll bring it back. There we go. The Antonov AN-30 aerial cartography aircraft. The AN-30 is a twin-engine surveillance aircraft designed and manufactured by Antonov Design Bureau of Ukraine. The maiden flight was in 1967. It was put in entry into service in 1971. It says it's been terminated, so they're not making anymore. The AN-30 is a twin-engine surveillance aircraft designed and manufactured by Antonov Design Bureau of Ukraine, principally for the Soviet Air Force to execute cartography and aerial surveillance missions. Its NATO reporting name is Clank. It was derived from predecessor do they have a ratchet? It was derived from its predecessor, an AN-24 transport aircraft. The production of the AN-30 was terminated in 1980. There's all the different variants of it. Aerial cartography and aircraft designed with a glazed nose and raised cockpit. The AN-30 can execute both military and civil operations, even in adverse weather conditions. The glazed nose features navigation and communication equipment. The aircraft is fitted with various cameras and sensors in the fuselage section to accomplish surveillance and photographic missions over a large area. So it's old still. It's old as hell, but it was flying over Sweden. All right, let's look at the combat footage update. Russian invasion of Ukraine footage released on day 65. So this was is this the latest one that they have? Yep, day 65. All right, according to Wikipedia, and then they have all the combat footage compiled. Let's take this moment. Thank you to everybody that served, since we're going to be watching combat footage and whatnot. I am an Army veteran. I served from 2012 to 2020, active duty from 2012 to 2016, and then I served in the Army Reserve from 2016 to 2020. 88 Mike, stationed in Alaska, 539th Transportation Company, and then I was in the 203rd and then the 353 Transportation companies in Minnesota in the reserves. So shout out you guys if you're a veteran. Comment if you guys served, what your branch and what your MOS is. Thank you so much for your service. We have an amazing veteran community. Russian soldier gets hit by a shell.
Выполнено на 5 с плюсом. Суммарно у нас 3 300.
Don't be walking and being on your phone. You're in the military. 2 Russian BMPs destroyed by drone-equipped munitions. Ukraine's 503rd Marine Brigade. In the Army, you're only authorized to walk when you're walking. That was a Chechen soldier who was hit. Drone footage of Ukrainian attack on a Russian ammo depot in Ermino, Luhansk region. U.S. Army Ranger veteran retired from 2012 from active duty. 13 Bravo 4 to 2016. Kentucky Army National Guard. Does this give a location? One more time, sorry. In Ermino, Luhansk region. Okay. That's here on the map. Give you guys an idea where this footage is coming from. The Luhansk region. Navy Vet 84 to 91 Australia. Assault Craft Unit 5. Army 11 Bravo Papa. 101st. U.S. Air Force Security Services, Security Forces 96 to 04. We'll look up Moldova. We got to keep an eye on that. You can't forget about Moldova. Still from the same region. Stugna P video. This must be all outside the Luhansk region. Russian armor firing from a tree line is spotted and hit by the UA 59th Drone and Artillery Brigade. Yes, I think this is the footage where they're laying down, resulting in total loss of the vehicle. On the Donbass front. That's over here on the map. Give you guys an idea. Donbass front. I mean, that the front could be along this border. I mean, it could be along this border. It's in this region though, in the Donbass, to the east of Ukraine. Over here. You see the tank was hit and destroyed. If you missed it, the tank is here. So look here, watch here, and then you can see the tank back up, and then it's hit. It's some UAV footage. Hey, Laura. Italian Mountain Corps. And then there's the explosion right there of the tank. And zoomed in a little bit now. Ukrainian helicopter flying at very low altitude and firing rockets on Russian positions. Damn. I say that's flying pretty low. Artillery unit of the Ukrainian 110th Separate Territorial Defense Brigade shelling a Russian position in the Zaporizhia Oblast. So Ukraine is firing on Russian positions here. So I'm sure it extends out to these regions under here. But here's Zaporizhia. Yeah, those were flares. These were flares that it's shooting out. Talking about the helicopter in this clip before. I think it shot the rockets, and then when it was flying around it, these are flares. All those were flares. To prevent any lock-on, to prevent getting hit by anything. Yeah, this is in the Zaporizhia Oblast. Thank you, Laura, so much. Thank you. Ukrainian MLRS in action. Multiple launch rocket system. I missed this one. Ukrainian precision artillery outside of Izyum. Here's Izyum. Outside, what does it say? Outside of Izyum? Yep. Here's the city of Izyum, so could be firing to the east of it. There's a pocket to the northeast of Izyum. Could be firing from here. It doesn't give an exact, but here's the city of Izyum. Firing upon Russian positions. Precision artillery. Any perks for 2 memberships? There's going to be a member only and then supporter only content coming. Member only Q&As on this YouTube channel, as well as other things. Look at all of the craters. Look at that. It's all from artillery. Those were all craters right there. Loyalty. So there's a couple people that think I'm like a CIA agent. I know, for real. Yeah, you can't smoke weed in the CIA, bro. Like immediately, no. You can't have listen, in the FBI or the CIA for agents, you can't have used anything. Like you have to go through a whole thing. Like that's so junk. So cap. I would be out. I can't, I don't qualify just because I smoke weed. You can't have used for like 14 years or something ridiculous in those agencies. They go back through your whole history, drug tests, and then make you do a polygraph. Agent Mercado. What? Hell nah. Right. No federal employee can have a trace of THC, literally. You gotta be a Boy Scout for real, and those things. UR-77 meteorite mine clearing device. This is that mine clearing vehicle we saw that has the det cord hanging out of it, and then it just like gets shot out and then just drops on whatever the the meteorite. So we saw it being used in Mariupol. Doesn't give a location here. Just tell people I am.
Давай!
Hey Melissa, how you doing? Okay, I'm confused because the det cord just left with this. And the one that we saw being used in Mariupol, like, it stayed attached to the truck. So I think this is, okay. I think it's because, like, they're actually using it for its purpose here. Because in Mariupol, they were just hitting buildings, like, a couple hundred yards away. So maybe that's why the det cord stayed on it so long. This one, the det cord goes right with it. Here it is again. You can hear that. You can hear it flying in the air too. All right. So that is some of the war footage. There's even more here if we go to Rob Lee's. And we can go down Ukraine War Report on Reddit as well. Did we go through the videos I wanted to? I have some unseen footage we can watch that was posted today. There's an Operator Starsky video that we missed yesterday. A video about the engineering of the Javelin to go through. And then, of course, Rob Turkla posted an update. So we have more to cover here tonight. Again, thank you so much for everybody tuning in. Make sure you like the video and you're subscribed to the channel. I'm your host, Andy Mercado. We've been covering this war in Ukraine since day 1, and now we're on day 66. So we're going to be shifting now down to Mariupol, outside the Azovstal steel plant for this next video. Where are we at here? This is outside the Azovstal steel plant, then I'll pull up some more that Rob Lee had posted. Fighting at the Azovstal steel plant. Russian video. Those are Russian forces. They have the white armbands.
Вот здесь с угла, не надо. Run!
What's that? Okay, here they're actually getting shot. Okay. Oh, wait, it's on an RT video, and it's a video of Russian forces getting engaged. I haven't seen this. You guys see how, look at though, do you see how the, do you hear how there's a back and forth in this video with the Russian soldiers? They're actually getting engaged in this. The cameraman stayed back. Does he move? That guy's stuck there now. No, these are Russians. Alright, that was probably the first non-choreographed Russian video I've seen. I think it looks like maybe they tried to. Then they were actually engaged. Then you saw, I'm not going to play it again because there a couple of Russians do get taken out. But the one guy just hides behind the building. The rest of them go inside the building. Their react to contact is just non-existent. He's able to retrieve one of the downed Russian soldiers there at the end. Interesting. That was probably the first Russian video that didn't seem choreographed. And you notice the cameraman wasn't with the rest of the soldiers at first. He stayed back and filmed them from a distance. And all the other videos are the cameraman's in there. If you guys want to watch it again, you can rewind. Here's now some combat footage from Rob Lee of a Stugna P engaging a Ka-52 helicopter.
Есть!
Neither of them did, Jim. There was 2 Russian soldiers that were taken out there.
Есть!
The Ka-52 helicopter, continuing on. Captured Russian Tornado U armored truck in Ukrainian service. Tornado U truck repurposed. Right, Lander, there's no RT logo. I think that's because they were actually engaged and took a couple losses right there. I noticed that too. But I also noticed with that video, if you guys go back, you can rewind my stream. You'll notice the watermark is the same one RT will take if it's like if the video is like just Russian soldiers engaging things but not being engaged themselves. But that one didn't have the RT watermark on it, so I'm sure they didn't pick that one up. That's why. So a lot of people had said, why is it, or not a lot of people, but a few people said on my Facebook stream, they're just taking old vehicles. But yeah, Ukraine knows how to use military equipment far better than any Russian soldier. They're far better trained, even on terrible old equipment that Russia has. They'll be able to utilize it better. Their tactics are better, and also these type of vehicles are very important for casevac purposes and getting soldiers back to Kyiv or wherever their medical post is. You know, getting soldiers back and forth, taking and repurposing these type of troop transport vehicles is huge. And capturing as much as they can, because it's not like they're getting a whole bunch of vehicles from NATO like this. They're not. I haven't seen any big reports of troop transport vehicles being sent. Instead, they're repurposing the Russian ones and adding a 50 cal to the top of it. So, very important, very huge for Casevac. A video showing Ukrainian soldiers targeting a VDV BMD-4M with Javelin ATGM. So it shows you what it looks like. Here's a video of it, a picture of what they're engaging. The VDV BMD-4M. And it's a Javelin team that engages it from the tree line. There, Michael, we've seen the Bushmasters. They're being used. Video of a Russian T-80 BV tank firing at an apartment building in Mariupol a number of times at close range. I don't believe there's audio to this clip. You can see the tank engaging the apartment building. They get the civilians out after they destroy the building. There's civilians in here. That's what the Chechen forces did to a building we watched, and then they save them after. And you'll see, it's going to zoom in on civilians that walk out. Oh, it doesn't show it. Why doesn't it show it? Let's go to my, I think we shared a video. Here it is. Back up some. Let's start from here. The video we shared shows the ending of this. It's full of civilians. Trying to take out the structural integrity of the whole building. So then look at the building now. They destroyed the entire thing. The whole building. It's the whole structure fell now. Now look at all the civilians that come out. That's a Tiger. That's a Russian Tiger M. Their MRAP vehicle that they have. They commit war crimes every day. It's a daily basis. UN sitting, all the Western humanitarian governmental organizations are sitting on their hands. It's just as a daily thing. It hasn't stopped. It's just sometimes they get it on UAV video like this. Or video. It's not like it's stopped. Let's continue. Captured and damaged Russian T-90A tank. Right, it's the same look that the Chechens did. We watched the Chechens light up a building like this. I mean, it's not like it's the only building that they've done this to. This is just got on video. The Chechens lit up a whole building in Mariupol and then like saved people out of it. And it was just all fake. Ukrainian forces captured 2 Russian BMP-3 in the Donbass. Here's the Donbass. Oops. Where are we at? We're on Twitter.
Вот так нахуй. Да нахуй это говно их жрать, блядь. Вот так, сука. Вот так, вон пидоры. Сука. Пидорасы. Ебучие. Вот так нахуй. Да нахуй это говно их жрать, блядь. Вот так. так, сука.
One destroyed vehicle.
Вот так, вон, пидоры.
And there's the second. Alright, Russian, this is what I needed to look up too. A Russian 2S1, this howitzer that they were using in Mariupol, that video came out. They were firing it straight. They were firing it straight at targets. There it is. Is this the... Hoping that this will tell us what it does. Okay, we'll get to that. I'm hoping it teaches us about it. But here it is, and here it is being used, firing on Azov positions near the Azovstal steel plant. So that's back down here in Mariupol. This is outside that steel plant where the Azov battalion, along with the Marines, and there's a couple other units that are in there in the factory, that are there in there with civilians. This is just outside of the Azovstal steel plant. So they can take out an entire building. They're using it like a tank, and it's not a tank. It's a howitzer. Just leveling buildings with it. Here is, I'm hoping that this is an informational video. Notice how it's being used, the range here. It's artillery.
Gunner, I always have a strong fascination, and if you're having a wonderful day, thank you for joining me on today's video. We are discussing self-propelled artillery once again, and as
so we're learning about this piece of equipment, the 2S1 Gvozdika 122mm self-propelled gun. This is what's being used in this video here, so we're going to learn about it. Like the video if you guys haven't. Again, credit to Matstimus for the information.
Gunner, I always have a strong fascination in anything that is an artillery piece, and we're going to the world of Russia to learn about the Gvozdika, which is basically a self-propelled gun cross tank cross BMP. That's really the closest explanation. I can give you an all-round summary of this cool little vehicle. Now, if you know anything about self-propelled guns, you'll know that the key about having a self-propelled gun is being able to shoot and scoot quickly and putting rounds down range. And when I talk about shoot and scoot, this thing really does pull the scoot out of the bag. It is a BMP, basically, with an artillery piece placed upon it. Very, very nimble, very, very agile in getting across the battlefield, and packs quite the punch. So let's talk a little bit about this vehicle. So the Gvozdika, otherwise known as Carnation, was developed in Kharkiv as a means to provide Soviet Unions with mobile firepower intended to destroy enemy manpower, artillery, and fortifications. Its development was, interestingly enough, inspired by Western designs. Unlike the Americans, though, who learned the value of indirect mobile artillery very early on, the Soviets actually preferred direct fire infantry support from Second World War onwards, and the departure from this was a philosophy that took nearly 2 decades. The late war and post-war Soviet assault guns, such as the Isu-152, were usually well armoured, packed quite a bit of punch, and were also capable of indirect fire, but were not exactly mobile. And of course, as I mentioned, self-propelled guns need to be able to shoot and scoot across the battlefield very, very quickly. Now, we're not just talking about the 2S1 today, we're talking about all models that come under the self-propelled artillery focus of this small little platform that's been modified during its time. Russia learned very quickly that self-propelled guns, whether tracked or on wheels, is definitely the way forward for their artillery pieces.
You can go through water.
When it comes to indirect fire with projectiles instead of rockets. While lightly armoured self-propelled guns were developed in the Soviet Union even before the war, the events of the war, as well as the traditional Soviet officers, and of course the price of such vehicles compared to simple towed artillery, slowed the development process considerably. On the other hand, though, with the onset of the atomic age, tactical, small-yield nuclear weapons became a reality. One of the main arguments in favour of self-propelled guns was the fact that they could be made NBC-proof over pressurising the hull, whereas, of course, self-propelled artillery took the advantage over the indirect or normal towed artillery units because they were exceptionally vulnerable to such weapons, such as chemical, nuclear, biological, as well as some of the prime targets for their use. The situation changed after trials held in 1965 in the Soviet Union that were to determine the combat value of World War II-era self-propelled guns such as the Su-100 and the ISU-152 on a modern battlefield. These trials have shown the inferiority of self-propelled Soviet guns to those used of NATO, and on the 4th of July 1967, decision number 609-021, yes, there is actually statement decision plans given, which were taken by the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union and the Council of Ministers of the Soviet Union to develop a new 122mm self-propelled gun for the Soviet military. The preliminary work was really there to determine the general shape of the vehicle. Its characteristics of the upcoming vehicle was actually conducted by the VN11-100 Technical Institute. They proposed 3 different chassis variants for the new gun. The Object 124 chassis, which was derived from the older Object 105, otherwise known as the Su-100P, the MTLB Armoured Transport chassis, and the BMP chassis. All 3 variants were supposed to be armed with the 122mm infamous D-30 gun. During the development, it was found that the Object 124 chassis was much too bulky and heavy, and the self-propelled gun would lose any chance of becoming amphibious. And of course, amphibious capabilities for the Russians was a huge primary directive for most of the military during that time. Much like the BMP development, the Soviets would consider amphibious capability to be the utmost importance, although history has shown that the dubious value of insisting on this trait is at the expense of many other vehicle features. We can talk about the BMP all day, and if you wish to, you can go check out my other videos of the self-propelled gun, and the gun for it, the 122mm 2A31, and was developed by OKB-9 Design Bureau in today Ekaterinburg.
Okay, artillery piece, artillery weapon. Lots of information in this video, though. Holy cow! If you really want to get into it.
And the maximum speed on water is 4.5 knots afloat, 40 horsepower, and the vehicle is very good in water. Though the ammunition load has to be reduced to around 30 rounds, though, if it wants to swim in order to cross rivers and lakes afloat.
That's interesting to know right there. Got to be reduced to be able to travel across water.
76 and potentially a C-130 or similar military transport available. The 2S1 was further developed into more useful battlefield roles for the Red Army and its other operators. This included such types as a mine clearer and chemical reconnaissance vehicle. Other nations have taken the 2S1 design steps and further produced more to a more custom-minded battlefield solutions, such as those supporting guided anti-tank missiles or utilizing commonality of parts with other chassis systems. In the Red Army service, the 2S1 was formally replaced by the 2S9 and 2S19 series of self-propelled guns.
Okay, so that was replaced. Any further info?
Either direct fire or indirect.
Let's go back a little bit.
You can see, the PZH 2000, big old beastly self-propelled guns with those 155mm guns. This is running a 122, still very capable projectile hitting the ground, either direct fire or indirect fire. That is.
So it was designed for direct fire too. Then that's the moral of the story. It was designed for indirect fire like this. And it was designed to do what it's doing in Mariupol right now. So, that's the moral. 122mm. A lot of information in that video. That was very, very well done. Very well done, researched, and thorough video. Alright, let's continue. The video of the 810th Naval Infantry Brigade troops firing a RPO Schmel and a RPG-26 as well as a BTR-82 Alpha, BMP-3, and 2S1 Gvozdika in direct fire mode. So it's going to show this again at the end, I believe. So another RT's got RT. This is what I was talking about. It's got that watermark, that Mill Chronicles, and it's got the red and white watermarks behind my head. I can hide myself quick. I'm gonna hide this. There, that. Ignore the American flag, because I added that. The watermark above my head. That's on all of these RT videos. It's got the red and the white. Put it back now. Alright, here we go. So there's the Azovstal steel plant in the back. This is right outside the Azovstal steel plant.
Ой, я говорю, только они отвлекают-то.
Okay. Video of 810th Naval Infantry Brigade troops firing on an RPO Schmel and an RPG-26. Here's the footage showing the destruction of the commercial and residential areas of Mariupol and clashes that are shot in the areas of the immediate east of the Azovstal plant. So here it is on the geolocation. So it's in this area here, right outside the plant. Here, you're looking at it right here. This is what it looked like. This is the only street view I have. This picture was taken in 2016. Very green. Lots of trees everywhere. So the buildings are right on the other side of this. I'm wondering if I can get any closer. Here, this is on the street. I'm wondering. So it's down that way. What a night! Look at the buildings, architecture. This is right down the street, so all this is destroyed as well. This is Mariupol. See if there's any other street views of this area. Here's some that's inside. This was in November of 2020. There's a Azovstal plant. Those are all the buildings. Again, this is Mariupol. It's right down the street. I can't get a street view of the exact area. Here it is from that whole video, showing what the area looks like. Let's go down the street a little bit. Again, this is like two blocks away from that, so it's the same street. Big buildings. Green everywhere. This is right down the street from that. Again, all that now looks like this. So that those city blocks we were just looking at is now, this is what it looks like. There's the plant. That's the street we're on. This is the street. So like we're 2 blocks this way. That's the street, the main street. So, and it's looking that way, so it's down there. Here's the whole region. There's the plant. There's that street. And the howitzer. Photo of Popasna. Pull that up on our maps. Do we have any street views in this city? There's a few. Let's try to get one that's on the image though. Hold on. There's the city of Popasna. Here's Donetsk and Luhansk. Kind of north, right in the middle of those two, into the north. Here's what it looks like from satellite. Got destroyed buildings in the foreground here in this region. Smoke coming from buildings. Is there a geo confirmation of this location? Eastern outskirts, railway station, quarry, pond, the pond's location. So that's over here. Gotta get my bearings quick. There's the train. So it would be looking, you're looking south right now in the video or this picture. You're looking to the south. Is there any street views? Not seeing any over here in this area. There's some, but they're like hidden. There's none in that direct area. Well, It's showing the rest of the city over here. I'm wondering if there's any views in this area. Yeah, there's one. Nope. Never mind. This is about it. This isn't close. Oh, this is on the outskirts of the city. Right on the southern outskirts. Here's a spot. Is this in that train station? Right in the middle of the trains. Here's one. This is inside. There's one here. Here we go. Winter time in December. Not gonna get to see a whole lot. Winter time. In the city of Popasna. Here's a little bit more to the north. Oh, there you go. Here's a good picture. So we're looking down on the southern part of the city here, yeah. So you're looking down, you're looking towards what we're looking at in the satellite image. A beautiful countryside. It's in the northern part of Popasna. You can see the city down there. If you'd be seeing it now, you'd be seeing smoke coming from it, from that view. And here it is, a Russian video of Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian artillery near Horlovika. Possibly with Krasnopol rounds. Where is this? Donetsk. To the northeast of Donetsk. With Krasnopol rounds. So that's a van, it looks like. So again, this is Russian artillery strikes on Ukrainian artillery positions, and it looked like a van there. Is there a geolocation? Yep. So let's get the picture. So this is where their old positions were. So that's where the van is then, in the trees. No pictures uploaded to Google Maps in the city. No, nothing on the street view for maps for this city, but here's the satellite geolocation. Continuing on. Comment where you guys are tuned in from. We passed the hour mark. I forgot to check. We've been going. We're at the hour and 20 mark. Comment where you're tuned in from. What city, what state, where in the world you guys are tuned in from. I'm your host, Andrew Mercado, independent journalist, U.S. Army veteran, just kind of sourcing as much news as we can find and get to the bottom of this thing. All right, get to the bottom of it. Find video, clips, geolocations, so we know it's a real place. We watch videos because a lot of time in war, especially, you get fake videos, and then we're really trying our best to, like, if it's we got video, figure out the location, and then okay, bam, satellite images, and you can see that it's a real spot. I'm waiting on John Sweeney update. We'll be getting to it. We're going through war footage and war updates quick. We still got other video to go through as well as the whole timeline for the Ukraine war report on Reddit that we haven't even started yet. Plenty of coverage to come, y'all. We're just at the hour mark. Comment where you're tuned in from. Sacramento, California is tuned in. Welcome, Ontario, Canada. Still checking in every night from Fort Myers, Florida. Also, y'all, I'm going to do the best I can, especially for our East Coast viewers. And that's why we're probably a little under the amount of normal people we get. I really want to do 9 p.m. to midnight. All right, the 9:45 to like 12:45, sometimes 1:30 in the morning's killing me. All right, because then I'm sleeping most of the day and I can't do my other content that I got to do. So I'm going to be working the best I can to stick to 9 p.m. to midnight. All right, from now on. Facebook, it'd be 7:30 to 8:30 for the hour long on Facebook before we come over to YouTube. All right, New York City's tuned in. Welcome, Casper, Wyoming, Salem, Missouri, Queensland, Australia. The other thing too that's been much anticipated, quick, just commercials. Again, I'm not sponsored, so I just got to promote the stuff that we have going on. And if you guys are interested, come on over. The Snack Squad Gaming YouTube channel is ready to go. Snack Squad Gaming YouTube channel is built. If you guys want to go subscribe to the gaming channel, let me get the link to it and post it in the chat. You guys can go subscribe. You'll see the Mercado Media on there. I haven't streamed there in over a year, but I built it and set it up. It's ready to go. So after this stream, I'm actually going to be streaming to the gaming channel. If you guys are interested, and I'm going to be streaming some video games late tonight for an hour or two before I go to bed. So I'll head on over there, and I'll be live on the YouTube channel. Gaming, Snack Squad Gaming. All right, let's get back into it. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I can tune in for an hour and a half. Oh, yeah. Hell yeah, Aaron. All right. More footage coming here. Russian Ministry of Defense video showing an Iskander M9M728 cruise missile launch reportedly at a target in Ukraine.
Машина еще ни разу не подводила нас. Отрабатывают все поставленные задачи. Погодные условия этой машине безразличны.
Я Дон. Принял.
Well, go back really quick. This Russian video Ministry of Defense showing an Iskander M9M728 cruise missile launch reportedly at a target in Ukraine. Russian Spetsnaz guarding the port of Mariupol. Getty Images. Another video of a Ukrainian UAV dropping a munitions on a Russian BMP-3. All right. A captured T-80U in service with Ukraine. T-80. All right. Captured T-80 in service. Video of a Russian armored vehicle on fire in Topolsky near Izyum, reportedly a result of a Ukrainian artillery fire. Thank you, Margaret, for subscribing to the Snack Squad Gaming channel. I'll be live there tonight after this stream. You guys feel free to ask me questions and all that stuff. Okay, continuing on. Video of a destroyed T-64 tank in Krasna Polyana. Where is this? Got new names. Doesn't make sense. Bulgaria? That doesn't make sense at all. Donetsk. There we go. Okay. This makes more sense. Here's a location. Geolocation. North of Mariupol. South of Donetsk.
Детонировавший, собственно, порох. Помните выпуски, где я беспечно к нему относился? А он сейчас вот лежит беспечно рядом с танчиком. Тут, собственно, гильза. Вот еще. Снаряд. Это попадание было, судя по всему, не сверху, да? По-моему, он подорвался снизу и боекомплект задетонировал. Ну, кажется, но правда прогиб-то не внутрь, а сверху.
Нет, сверху, потому что боекомплект сорвался. И прогиб, ну, пошел взрыв, и пошел.
Да, в общем, это украинский танк. А какая модификация? 64-ка? Да, видно, что камуфляж украинский.
Smash that like button, y'all, if you haven't. Again, welcome to the coverage, day 66 of the war in Ukraine. Thank you to our Discord server sharing videos. A column of cars with UN logos has arrived in Mariupol. Reportedly, an evacuation is underway. We had reports of, what is it? Pull it up here. 20 civilians leave Mariupol's Azovstal site per a Ukrainian regiment. So here's a video of UN cars in Mariupol. I was expecting to see these a long time ago. I These are Russian soldiers too, by the way. You can see the white markings on their armbands. Now here's a video of Ukrainian soldiers fighting in Mariupol. It says a compilation of Ukrainian forces fighting against Russian invaders in Mariupol. A lot of the videos in Mariupol are from Russia. Honestly, they're from the Russian side, unless it's in the Azovstal steel plant. And then, I mean, we've seen UAV videos from the Azov battalion that come out here and there, but a lot of the video has been from Russia, from RT. Stugna video. Another clip. Let me just check this quick. This is posted on the 29th. The ending, I'm gonna have to fast forward the end, but all right, so let's get, what does this say here? Jewelry hit, a drone pursues Russians and destroys them in a stolen car. A drone pursues Russians and destroys them in a stolen Direct hit inside the car. I don't even see the end. But they landed it right through the window, or right through the sunroof window, and then at the end it shows the aftermath. We don't need to see that, but it goes right through the window. Video of Russian truck targeted by Ukraine, possibly from a mine. Landed right through the right through the top window. Russian truck targeted by Ukraine, possibly from a mine. I know, right? It went right through the sunroof. Stealing cars. Captured T-80 BVM tank in service with Ukraine. You got the Ukrainian paint. Yeah, the car backed up and landed right in there. Photos from Ukraine's 57th Motorized Brigade of destroyed Russian BMPs in a strike on a Russian tank. Another video of a low-flying Ukrainian Mi-8 helicopter. Video was posted 20 hours ago, so that would have been definitely from like the 29th then. Copyrighted music. Hours ago. Here's another video of it. Seen earlier, flying low. Higher definition video of MLRS strikes by Ukraine's 93rd Mechanized Brigade on a reported Russian command post in Zabavny near Izyum. You know, the artillery barrage. Right, what's this one here? This is from our Discord. Video of upgraded Mavic 3 quadcopter outfit with suspension mods to support attacks. This is graphic. Okay. Hold on. Oh. Oh, I see. Okay. This is another one. It's got, so this is the same thing that they had for that vehicle. I saw this video too earlier today. The Mavic 3 quadcopter, and it's got the mortar on it. I'm gonna play it into a certain part, all right? Because it takes it does show, it hits one person. I think there's a clear video on Funker 350 I can pull up. And the description I had read in a different post was saying that they were stealing. You see it getting ready? And they literally drop it right on, and it it hits this dude right here. I'm not gonna play it, but right here it lands and hits and takes that guy right there. So to avoid video taken down, it hits right there, but you can see it dropped. And then lands on this dude walking around the truck. They all run away and leave him there. You can see it's gonna land right there. Saw that video earlier today too. Video of one of the cruise missiles launched at Kyiv 2 days ago. That was Ukraine firing on Russian soldiers. So that was the cruise missile heading towards Kyiv a couple days ago in this video. Second video of the UR-77 MICLIC firing a line charge. Oh, okay. Did we see this yet on... Oh, we did in the compilation video. Okay. Firing a line charge. This is that vehicle that has the det cord hanging out of the back of the round when it gets shot.
Давай!
It is in Discord, Elizabeth. All these videos I'm pulling up are in our Discord. Join our Discord server to see everything I'm pulling up. Sorry, that was extremely loud. That's that vehicle. It's got that det cord out of it. When we watched it in Mariupol be used, it wasn't firing that far away. Look at that, though. See the det cord flying with it. So speaking of these troop transport vehicles I was talking about for Kazabak, so Pentagon has shown how the military is loading up M113 armored personnel carriers, which will soon be delivered to Ukraine. We were doing a mounted range once, so no shit, there I was. The year was 2000, the year of our Lord, 2018. And we were at a mounted range in Kentucky. And what was it? Well, which army base did they got there? Fort Knox, thank you. Fort Knox. And our team beat a team that was using an M113. They were combat engineers. And my team in our truck, we were just on a Humvee. And we ended up beating them. But so I've seen this piece of equipment used. I'm not sure. Combat engineers, you guys, I didn't see too much support for the use of this in the range. They didn't like it too much. But let me know if there's anybody that's used this piece of equipment that approves of it. I didn't get to train on it too much. That's my claim. And our team beat the combat engineer team that was using this. Yep, Knox. We beat them as in terms we got a higher score. You were on strikers? We had strikers in Alaska. The cavalry units had strikers in Alaska where I was. Third ID. They got they had the medical ones too. Strikers all day. Yeah, there's not sending strikers though. It doesn't look like. Then they got the medical ones on another truck. This is the M113. It's not so great. That's why, yeah, I figured, John. So some people that have been trained on this piece of equipment, and again, the couple engineers that we talked to or I talked to didn't like it because I was asking them about it because they were the only team. They were the only team at the range that day at the mounted range that had one of these things. Everyone else was in Humvees because we were all Pogues, non-combat jobs. I think there was one other team of 11 Bravos. And I asked him, I was like, yo, do you guys like having to use that? I'm like, nah. Okay. The striker, everyone seemed to like the strikers though. The cav units that were in Alaska, they seemed to like those. Another piece of equipment I never got trained on. Unfortunately. Su-29, so alright, we're all caught up now on Rob's war coverage, or war clips compiled on his Twitter. Let's go to Ukraine War Report next on Reddit. A Russian tank falling off a truck during a transport near Belgorod. Thank you to someone who pointed out the Ukraine War Report in Reddit. Here's Belgorod. We're just opening up even more video and clips that we're getting now. Good source. Russian tank falling off a truck on a transport near Belgorod. Fell right on off. Let's go back and see that again. Oh my god. Was it even strapped down or chained down? Do they even have it chained? Chains? Or was it just sitting on there? They were just sitting on there. One more time. Here it is. Russian tank. Dude, they're terrible. Oh my goodness. All right, let's continue on. Another video of a Russian heli Ka-52. Okay, we saw that video. Here's the full one though. Fresh video and not a repost. Here's a clear video of it though. Might have to start coming here for clear videos.
Есть!
Until that part. I spoke until the ending when it got potato. What the heck was that about? Never mind. I'm gonna have to go back to Twitter for that one again. Spoke too soon. It was clear at the beginning and then it just potatoes out when you hit it. What the heck is that about? Spoke too soon. Let's continue on. This is there was another fire, and this was Friday afternoon. Thermal power plant in Sakhalin, Russia. So another fire. Let's look up where that is. Sakhalin, Russia. Yet another fire. What's your guys' theories on these continuous fires in Russia? Is this that annexed portion of Japan that they took a long time ago? It's an island. Russia is such a big country. What's your guys' theories? It's north of Japan. That's a big one. Those aren't getting mass. I mean, there's Western media outlets that are reporting these things happening. Russia definitely isn't. island north of Japan, of Russia's islands. Yeah, I want to show you guys quickly, and that's why I want theories in the chat. I want to show you guys exactly where this is, so you guys understand that Ukraine had no... Ukraine, it's not like, look at, that's where it happened, right? Okay, that's how stupid big Russia is. Ukraine's all the way over here. Like, if I zoom in, that part of Russia, you can't even see it no more. Right, so... Theories. I'm not thinking Ukraine has any hand in it. Like, maybe the ones in Belgorod, but like, I don't know. They're not even Ukraine. They wouldn't claim it anyways. But Ukraine isn't claiming it. Russia isn't even admitting to them officially, minus the governor of Belgorod who keeps posting on Telegram. There's been strikes in eastern Moscow. Northeastern of the Ivano Oblast. But that one's, dude, you can't, I mean, unless Ukraine has just that, look at, that's a big distance. Could be just, I don't know, but there's been increased fires in Russia. That's the end point, is that there's been more and more.
Angelina, please meet me. I'm Yankee from Belarus.
Trying to shout out Angelina.
Что, ты тоже охуевшая? Да все охуевшие.
A cat and a dog that an Azov soldier came across in Mariupol.
Да, правильно, со мной можно дружить. Иди сюда. Хорошая китька.
Thank you, Michelle.
Хорошая китька. Я друг.
We got 82-year-old Ukrainian grandma has her home by bombed. Flat tells us we're better than the Russians. It said we take some of their what?
She was 8 years old. She remembers that.
Let's just listen.
When Nazi came here, and they had to live with them.
Oh, talking about the Nazis from World War II. Okay, let's just listen to this. That explanation didn't. All right, let's listen.
When she was 8 years old, she remembers that when Nazi came here, and they had to live with them for 3 years. They occupied the whole land. They bombed. They shoot, but she didn't see that massive destruction of the rural areas, of the civilian zones during Nazis, like she does right now.
Okay, thank them very much for speaking with us, and ask them, is there anything we can do right now or help them in any way?
Дуже він дякує за те, що ви так смілились поговорити з нами, розказати про це. І він ще цікавиться, чи могли б ми зараз вам прямо зараз чимось допомогти. Прямо тут.
Чим нам допомогти? Нам би треба машину, щоб вивезти цей мусор кудись, щоб очі хоч не бачили, що це все воно, хоч, розумієте, щоб хоч трошки двір цей прибрати, оце все. Що нам допомогти?
Actually, the local help that we could actually help, they don't need it. All they need is the big truck to take all of this stuff away, not to see this horror anymore.
Може сільська рада щось дасть, ну
They
я ще
might be
туди не
city
дзвонила.
council help them, but they haven't called them yet.
Tell Grandma that I don't have any grandmothers anymore, so maybe she could be my grandmother.
No,
Bad idea?
Yeah.
Okay. Tell them thank you very much.
Дуже дякую.
God, what an idiot. Whoever that interviewer is. But 82-year-old Ukrainian grandma. So she's saying that during the Nazi occupation of World War II, they were treated better than how the Russians treated them in this invasion. Because she was alive during the Nazi occupation of World War II. There's the transfer of M113s to Ukraine. So these are troop transport vehicles the United States is sending over. Trust me, again, even from people in the chat, this isn't the best thing that we have for troop transport vehicles. But I feel that they're sending them this because they'll be able to operate this piece of equipment pretty easily. So America's sending M113s over. I'm wondering if we're gonna send Humvees soon too, since they're phasing out. War ambulance. I'll be using it as Casevac vehicles for sure, likely. NATO transfers heavy military equipment to the Baltic countries. Oh, we gotta look up Moldova.
Ну что, ребята, готовимся к войне?
Как такое говорить?
Ну не дай бог, конечно.
Это они на русскую границу, да?
Да, это...
Вот, меня даже не снимают.
Ну что, ребята,
Hey Evie, how you doing?
готовимся к войне?
Как такое говорить?
Ну не дай бог, конечно.
Это они на русскую границу, да?
Да, это...
The friendship is over. In Chernihiv, a sign of friendship between Russia and Ukraine was destroyed on a thematic monument. Google translated, apologize if I'm not 100% correct. In Chernihiv, the sign of friendship between Russia and Ukraine was destroyed on a thematic monument. I'm going to have to look that up. Monument of Friendship in Chernihiv. Chernihiv Monument. Monument to the Homeland Mother, is that what it is? Okay, I'm not finding it. If there's anyone that understands what the meaning of that is. They're etching out monuments. A train filled with Panzer. Oh geez. What is that? Panzer Hobbits 2000 in Stuttgart, Germany. Maybe heading to Poland for training exercise till the Dutch ones arrive, or simply for NATO Bundeswehr transport. Is this that heavy equipment that other video was saying is being transported? All right, really quick, wanted to pull it up in case you don't believe me. People don't believe Agent Andrew Mercado 420. Oh, that's not the right one. Agent 420. There we go. They were receiving our awards for getting first place. Extremely proud of my gun crew. 913 out of 1,000. 10 out of 10 targets. That was when we went up against that M113 team. Time I had seen it. I got that dub. The Pogue dub over the combat jobs is always fun. Always fun beating the combat jobs. Oops. continue on. Ukrainians on the move. Oh, with super copyrighted music that I can't play. It's a good song though. Good evening from a suburb of Chicago. Good evening. A rare Russian BTR ZD destroyed in an ambush. Oh, it's got a cope cage on top of it too. Andrew, can you be my grandma? I'm dead. What a dumb question. Stupid. What a dumb question. I'm still mad about that. Even the translator was like, nah, I'm not asking that. Got that cope cage on top. Let's pause the war footage, and this is a message from President Zelenskyy with some subtitles on it. It's the fight for our lives. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says that defending Ukraine and the Ukrainian people is, quote, the fight for our lives. All right, let's check this out. If you guys haven't, please like the video, like this stream. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. I'm Andrew Mercado, host of this stream, host of the channel Mercado Media. Thank you guys again for choosing independent media to tune into the war updates. The sexy time bots have arrived. Let me pause this, hold on. I'll turn it up and start it over.
Жорстка ситуація на Харківщині, але у наших військових, у наших розвідників є важливі тактичні успіхи. На Донбасі окупанти роблять усе, щоб знищити будь-яке життя на цій території. Постійні жорстокі бомбардування, постійні російські удари по інфраструктурі та житловим районам свідчать про те, що Росія хоче зробити цю територію безлюдною. Тому оборона нашої землі, захист наших людей – це буквально боротьба за життя.
Literally for the fight of their lives. So, excerpt from President Zelenskyy. Here's the situation in the country. Russian occupied forces are in the red. All right, like the video if you guys haven't. Check into the stream. Comment where you're tuned in from. We got an hour left in the stream. We're 2 hours in, another hour to go. I do hope you guys join us late tonight on our gaming YouTube channel. I finally got the gaming channel set up. It's good to go. So I'm going to be live on YouTube tonight. Make sure you guys have your notifications set so you don't miss any streams. The red occupied region is Russia. Blue blips on the map is Ukraine. All right. There's ground forces fighting near the Kherson region, near the Kherson Oblast. They keep attempting to push Mykolaiv and fail. And they've been pushed back, and Ukrainian forces actually took back the city of Alexandriivka. And that was last week. Russian forces are shelling the city of Odessa, and the city of Odessa is now on a curfew from 10 p.m. on May 1st. Let me get that, and then it ends on May... Should I pull it up? They are on curfew until May 3rd, 5 a.m. May 3rd in the city of Odessa. There's been a couple strikes there, more than a couple strikes, but there's a couple strikes on Saturday, but there's been increased amount of strikes in the city of Odessa. Fighting continues to the east in the Donbass region as Russia is looking to take more cities within this region here in Kramatorsk, Sloviansk. They hold Luhansk and Donetsk right now, but they've had those for the last 8 years with Vladimir Putin granting their independence before the invasion began. So that's why it's got the dark solid line around these two cities. We got Albany, Oregon's tuned in. Welcome Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, Dawsonville, Georgia. Aloha, how you doing? Kenosha, Wisconsin, York, Pennsylvania. Louisa, Virginia, Cobb Hill, Kentucky. Welcome. West Lakeland, Minnesota, about 10 miles from Oakdale, my hometown. Buffalo, New York, tuned in. Texas is tuned in. Welcome, welcome, Dallas, Texas. I'm gonna be streaming a game called Dreams, I think. I'll figure it out. Hope you guys will be there. I'm also gonna be starting the Metal Gear Solid franchise on the YouTube channel. So look for that. That'll likely start tomorrow since I'm off from covering the war. I'm probably gonna be streaming video games tomorrow night. I'm gonna be starting at Metal Gear Solid 1 and streaming it all the way through because I feel that game franchise is more relevant than ever as we're covering this war. If you've never tuned into a video game series before, that is the one to start with. It's the one I started with when I was a child in 1998, the year of our Lord. So I'm going to be starting that franchise likely tomorrow, from the beginning to the end. Hope you guys tune in. Let's get back into it here. Ukraine war report. Ukrainian tank on the move.
Выбросили или нет? Алло, подарок сделала, спасибо.
What's going on here? Oh, another video going on. You got Angelina Jolie in Lviv. We saw that already this morning or earlier in the stream. Close up of Grez 2. Oh, here's that power plant that's on fire. Here's the power plant that's on fire in the Russian island that they had taken from Japan a long time ago. Another video of that. I'll answer all video game and Q&A questions during our video game streams, y'all. Try to save them for then. There will be a live chat and all that. What is that? American soldier and Ukrainian... Okay. Grandma Maria weeps near Chernihiv. We bought her a couple bags of food. She can't sleep well. She has a daughter in Germany. The unknown diaspora?
And tell her, don't worry too much.
Все, не переживайте
We're
сильно.
gonna rebuild everything.
Все відбудується, все буде добре. Головне, що ви живі. Головне, що ви живі.
And she has 20 more good years for sure, so stay strong.
І у вас іще буде 20 таких років, все у вас буде добре.
She's got to make sure the village leadership helps every house quickly. That's her job.
Ваша ви сильні, ваша задача також, це ж теж довбати їх, щоб вони приходили, щоб вони, щоб щось вони щось робили.
It's in Chernihiv. That's to the northeast of Kyiv. That's up here. Chernihiv. Or Chernihiv, I'm not sure which proper way to say it. Now let's look at this video from Operator Starsky on YouTube. If you guys haven't subscribed to this channel, definitely you need to subscribe to Operator Starsky. He's provided very good videos straight out of Ukraine. So here we go. Artillery positions in school, he says. Let's go here.
And this is very interesting, by the way. So from here you can see hangars, the one with Ruslan and the one with Mriya, the biggest airplane in the world. And you can see those holes that were made the very first day in the morning by their attack helicopters. So those helicopters were coming from this direction, and they were opening fire at these structures, the first and the second hangar. So from my position I couldn't see Mriya, but I saw a huge cloud of smoke coming from that area, and I decided that they must have hit some kind of fuel storage or something like that, but in fact that was Mriya burning. Hi everyone, Operator Starsky here. Behind my back there's a school in Hostomel, school for all kinds of grades, like elementary school, higher grades like 10th, 11th grade. And this trench is made on the children's stadium behind this school. And exactly here you can see their artillery positions made for Russian mortars. like 20 or 30 something meters from school. So basically we can tell that this school was used as their barracks, let's call it this way, and those trenches were made very close to school so they could easily get to those trenches and get to their artillery.
Look at look at this.
That was stationed in this trench. Again, this is their position. This trench made for their vehicle. Obviously, their BMD used by airborne troops, and of course it was located very close to their temporary barracks made in this school. So you can see that yard where children used to play before this invasion, and this field, I mean this stadium, was used by kids as well as our troops that were stationed there on the base. So we used to play football or soccer, and we used to play together with kids from higher grades, and we used to run around the stadium together with kids again when we had PT. So here you can see this trench made for Russian BMD vehicle, a football that was stolen obviously from school, and this banner saying "Kids are our future." And basically this was a playground that again was turned into positions used by Russian soldiers. You can see a lot of trenches here, as well as this B-ground trench used by their artillery. So obviously they had a mortar over here, and you see that this trench is reinforced with all those things that were taken from this playground. These are Russian ammo boxes. OFZ means fragment shells, and you can see basically what they have turned this playground into. There's a lot of mess, a lot of garbage left by Russian soldiers, some kind of uniform. Russian ratio, it's in Russian language, saying those words are saying tomatoes. So they obviously had lunch here. They used this pot in order to prepare their food. So here you can see Russian butter, and all kinds of remains of Russian ratio. There was another trench in the basement of the school, and of course you can see this Russian swastika. This water in the basement was obviously prepared for kids, because again the basement of this school was obviously used as shelter, and you can see that Russians played with children toys that were taken from classes, from those classrooms. This is a Ukrainian boot that was stolen from our base, because Russian boots obviously are very bad, and actually we've had a lot of cases when Russians were wearing Ukrainian underwear and Ukrainian boots because they are of much better quality. You can see remains of Russian ratio here,
Okay, all right, pause. So I don't think I've seen one of these MREs open. I've only ever seen a box. Here's one of their MREs. Thank you, Nora, for the $10 super chat.
Ratio here.
So you got saltine crackers. I don't even know what's in those. Like berries? Dried berries, probably. Like raisin, like dried cranberries and dried shit. Got plenty of sauce.
Those cookies and stuff.
Oh, cookies, he says. Those look like saltine. There's plenty of saltine crackers, though. Oh my god. Saltine crackers for days. Jelly.
Those cookies and stuff. And yeah, and they also stole this toy from some of the classrooms. The underwear that is used by National Guard of Ukraine, and obviously they took it from our base that is located behind this building, way behind this building. So they brought it here, so they obviously used our underwear because it's of a much better quality than what is offered by Russian army. You can see that this trench for Russian mortar was made right behind the swings, and again, this is remain of Russian ratio. Those Russian cookies, some spoon that was left here obviously by Russian troops, and basically this is the front entrance to the school. You can see that Russians were barricaded inside. They used those are actually beds taken from elementary school. I'm talking first grades, and they used those beds to barricade this hole. I think they made it in order to bring some specific equipment inside.
I'm hoping that Ukraine now that, I mean, listen, after the war, that's going to be cleanup, but the rebuilding of these cities, they don't go off the old Soviet infrastructure that puts these army or military buildings right next to schools, or like a lot of this is Soviet era shit. They just had the military spread out through everything. Like they're just military everywhere. Military and everything.
Barricaded inside. They used those are actually beds taken from elementary school. I'm talking first grades, and they used those beds to barricade this hole. I think they made it in order to bring some specific equipment inside, probably high caliber machine guns or something like that. This is the front entrance. You can see it's also barricaded with what they were able to find inside. You can see that Russian swastika, that V sign left by Russian troops. And here you can see that they attempted to make another trench right here. And you know, I'm talking a lot to people from West, and they simply cannot believe that in 21st century Russian troops could perform all those atrocities and stuff like that. They can't believe literally that Russians did their positions in such areas as playgrounds, schools and stuff like that. People used to say that it must be Ukrainian propaganda, you know, trying to show Russians as, you know, very gross beings, and obviously they couldn't do all that. But here in Ukraine it doesn't surprise us, because we've had that neighbor for centuries and we know what they are capable of, you know, so it doesn't surprise us. You didn't have such a neighbor for centuries, you didn't fight with them for centuries, like we did here. That's why we are not surprised with what they did in Hostomel, in Bucha, in Monetization, and other places in Ukraine. I'm Operator Starsky, and thanks for watching.
Operator Starsky video on YouTube. Also, thank you to the Discord. Thank you, Shar, for sending a video about that monument. That Soviet-era monument symbolizing friendship went down. Kyiv pulls down Soviet-era monument. Got that from this clip that we had seen that I was confused on from the Ukraine War Report. Guy chiefing one down. Dozens of onlookers cheered as the statue fell with a clang. Imagine being in a chat with people from around the world and then arguing over the president of the United States. Like, there isn't, like, there's a reason why I do viewer check-ins, and it's hopefully to show the Americans that just cannot ever think that there's other countries or anything other than America out here. But to pinpoint it on an American president is silly and foolish. And it takes away from the point of Vladimir Putin being the responsible party here for this invasion. It's so silly. Some Americans are just incapable of thinking outside of the United States. And it's troubling. Funny in certain parts, but troubling. Chief City Council announced it would remove 60 other monuments in the capital. Right by the feet. Thank you for sharing that, so we have more video of that. Now let's watch the insane engineering of the Javelin. These are some, again, videos that were sent to the Discord or things that people wanted me to tune into. The insane engineering of the Javelin. This is actually #1 on trending. Let's check this out. Again, if you guys haven't liked the video, make sure you're subscribed to the channel Mercado Media on YouTube. I'm Andrew Mercado. I'm your host. We're live every night starting at 9 p.m. Central, 10 p.m. Eastern. Sundays are my day off. And then Fridays and Sundays are my 2 days off because of softball. And then I just need 1 day off. All right.
You know what has happened. A tyrant.
Again, credit for this video to Real Engineering, the insane engineering of the Javelin. Learning some more information.
Has invaded.
Nope, we'll go to John Sweeney next. Thank you for reminding me.
A peaceful, democratic nation against all logic and morality. An invasion of a sovereign European nation of this magnitude has not been seen since 1939. The invasion of Poland and World War II at large was dominated by the tank, a technology that shaped the battlefield of World War II, a technology born out of the trenches of World War I, a war defined by artillery and machine guns. The tank served as a weaponized shell to burst through defensive positions. Poland's resistance to this new battlefield-defining weapon relied on light infantry-carried anti-tank rifles, towed anti-tank guns, and mechanized anti-tank vehicles. Those anti-tank rifles were attempting to solve one crucial problem: a weapon that could be mass-manufactured and put into the hands of individual soldiers. A lightweight piece of equipment that could be quickly moved around the battlefield. The tanks the Polish most commonly faced were the German Panzer I and II and the Soviet T-26, both of which had maximum armor thicknesses between 13 and 20 millimeters. The Polish, in anticipation of this new threat, had developed the Model 35 anti-tank rifle, a lightweight, high-powered rifle capable of penetrating 20 millimeters of armor from 300 meters away. However, a projectile that exhausted its kinetic energy in penetrating the armor, with little left over on the other side, was of little use. Lucky shots to critical engine components located on the rear of the tank may cripple it, but if the Germans or Soviets discovered this rifle had been manufactured in such large numbers, countering it was as simple as adding slightly more armour to critical areas. Poland fell in a single month. Today, we are 2 months into Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and despite being equipped with modern tanks with modern reactive armour, they've made little progress. The nature of war has changed radically since the days of the Blitzkrieg across Europe, where once tanks rampaged unimpeded through forest, field and town. In the modern battlefield, against a well-equipped enemy, lone tanks have become large, high-priority targets for advanced infantry-carried missile systems, capable of taking out even the most advanced armour from miles away. While Russia's military incompetence cannot be ignored, the importance of these lightweight, anti-tank devices cannot be understated. Countries around the world have developed their own variants of these weapons, all highly capable anti-tank devices, and many are in the hands of Ukrainian soldiers defending their country against a tyrant. But one has become a symbol of this war. Like the Spitfire of the Battle of Britain, it may not be the most numerous, but it has become an icon of a country under siege. St. Javelin of Ukraine, a weapon purpose-built for a Cold War scenario.
St. Javelin of Ukraine.
Designed to be put into the hands of individual soldiers, purpose-built to take out wave after wave of Russian tanks. This is the insane engineering of the FGM 148. The Javelin
up. Learn more about the Javelin.
Began its development in the latter years of the Cold War, designed to fulfill exactly the role the Polish anti-tank rifle sought to fill, a lightweight and mobile anti-tank weapon that would allow individual soldiers to quickly target tanks and escape to cover before being seen. In total, the Javelin system weighs just 22 kilograms, light enough for a single soldier to move around the battlefield, enabling guerrilla warfare tactics to be used against an invading army. The Javelin is so much more than a simple rocket-propelled explosive, like the RPG. The Javelin is a fire-and-forget weapon, capable of guiding itself to the most vulnerable region of a tank from miles away, and bypassing even the most advanced reactive armor, allowing soldiers to target, fire, and escape to safety. In order to do this, the Javelin employs ingenious bits of technology. To begin, the soldiers need a method of spotting and locking onto a target. This starts with the night vision sight lens, located here. Despite being called the night vision lens, this device provides soldiers with a 4 times and 9 times magnification infrared sight that works in both day and night, allowing soldiers to spot enemy tanks from a distance, even in low visibility situations. This lens is part of the Command Launch Unit, or CLU.
Anybody in the chat ever get to use one of these? Comment.
Which attaches to the expendable rocket tubes that contain the round. The fact the tube is detachable makes the CLU by itself an incredibly useful piece of equipment. Soldiers frequently carried these units on patrols in Afghanistan and Iraq when the threat from enemy armor was low, simply because they provided excellent infrared sighting capability.
Wow.
Once connected to a launch tube, the soldier can flip this switch from off to night mode, and the cooling unit of the CLU will begin to cool down the infrared detectors to their required temperature, taking 2 to 3 minutes. The day mode switch provides sighting capability, but cannot activate the seeker. Once the night vision sight is adequately cooled, the soldier has full missile capability. From here, they have several selections to make using the left-hand grip. A range of sight options can be selected using the sight selection switch located here, switching between the wider 4 times sight or the more narrow 9 times sight, and between night and day imaging settings. There is also a filter switch which applies a filter to the night vision sight to make enemy detection of the infrared sight more difficult, while the focus setting simply adjusts the focus of the sight. Once a target has been identified, the user can flip a protective cover and press and hold the seeker trigger on the left-hand grip, which activates the seeking locking sequence. This also activates the firing trigger on the right hand grip. Over here, the user can select a firing mode with two options, direct and top, which change the trajectories depending on the object being targeted or the surrounding area. The top trajectory is ideal as it targets the least protected section of a tank, but top may not always be possible. The target could be under an overpass or some other obstacle. This directional pad allows the user to adjust gates manually around the perimeter of the target's profile. This is essentially visually training the seeker on the target. Once locked, the image is saved into the seeker and the user can pull the trigger. From here, things happen extremely quickly. A launch motor fires, pushing the seeker out of the tube with just enough force to get it clear of anyone nearby, about 4.5 meters. This minimizes recoil and makes the system incredibly easy to use.
That's why we were seeing in the video or the clip, there was a Javelin team in the tree line that used it. Was it from Rob? I don't know if I'll be able to pull it up quickly. The Javelin team in a tree line. Is it this video? I think it's this one. Oops, refresh. Come on now. There, right here. That's why they're able to fire at that vehicle laying down like that. Come on, video. Twitter clips do this. They get stuck. Where's that part? Anyways, you guys saw it. He's laying down. That's why they're able to fire from that position.
It to be launched from inside buildings without fear of the backblast turning the building's interior into a pressure cooker. As the seeker leaves the tube, two separate spring-loaded fins deploy. The front set of 8 fins, referred to as the wings, provide lift and stabilization to the seeker, while the rear 4 are controlled by the flight computer to guide the seeker to its target. The control fins are also helped along by 4 thrust vector control vanes around the nozzle of the rocket motor, which can vector the exhaust of the rocket to provide additional control. At this point, the user's job is done. They can get back behind cover or change position, which is especially useful after giving away their position while firing. The seeker is controlling itself at this point. The image initially locked into the guidance electronics is used to guide the seeker towards its target. But the seeker also has its own infrared imaging camera mounted on its nose. The goal of the guidance computer is to keep this image in the center frame using the control fins and thrust vectoring vanes. To do this, it uses pattern recognition algorithms to keep track of the target and updates the target reference image every frame to make the job of tracking the continually changing image as easy as possible. As the seeker closes in on the target, a sequence of events occurs incredibly quickly. The seeker has a 2-stage shaped charge. Shaped charges are fascinating. They use fluid dynamics and the kinetic energy of the blast to slice through armor. Shaped charges consist of the charge itself, shaped with a hollow indentation where a metal liner is placed. When the charge is detonated, a pressure wave forms behind this metal liner, deforming and accelerating the metal into a lance-like jet of ultra-fast metallic particles that cut through armor like butter. Contrary to the shaped charge's other name, heat, which stands for high explosive anti-tank, this is a purely kinetic mechanism. The shaped charge effectively creates a hypersonic projectile at point-blank range. The metallic liners chosen need to be ductile so that they readily deform and form into a linear jet, maximizing the projectile's penetration ability. A brittle fracture of the liner would result in large chunks of particulated metal that would reduce the penetrating power of the metal. But this needs to be balanced with the velocity of the jet, which will lower with heavier elements. The Javelin itself has 2 stages. The first stage uses a molybdenum liner, while the main charge uses copper. This two-stage design allows the Javelin to deal with modern reactive armor more effectively. Reactive armor are those strange box-like structures you see on modern tanks, and they were created specifically to deal with shaped charges. Reactive armor works by placing an explosive charge between two metal plates. When a jet from a shaped charge strikes the upper plate, it detonates the inner explosive. You may think this could damage the tank, but the tank's lower armor is more than capable of dealing with the relatively blunt pressure formed by the reactive armor detonation. The outer plate then flies outwards to disrupt the incoming jet, while the shockwave formed by the detonation also breaks up the stream of metal approaching the tank.
Alright, that's how reactive armor works.
The first stage of the Javelin is designed to trigger these reactive armor boxes before the main charge detonates. The second charge can then cut through the inner armor unimpeded. Many modern tanks do have secondary defenses to protect against threats like this, like Russia's active protection system, Arena. This system uses radar to detect incoming threats and activates a buckshot-like munition that strikes the incoming threat. This detonates the shaped charge far enough away from the tank that the jet disperses into too large of an area to effectively pierce the armor. However, the Arena active protection system struggles to deal with top-down attacks, something the Javelin is designed to do.
Wow.
And we are starting to see photos of rudimentary cages placed on top of Russian tanks to defend against top-down attacks.
Cope cages. Cope cages, baby.
It's important to remember that the footage we are seeing is going to be skewed in favor.
They don't work. And that's why you see them like this. They're not working.
Against top-down attacks. It's important to remember that the footage we are seeing is going to be skewed in favor of Ukraine. This is an ongoing battle where morale is vital. We aren't going to see battles where anti-tank munitions failed. The age of the tank is far from over. It's still a vital tool.
That's a good point. That is a very good point to remember. We aren't seeing the failures of the rockets. It's all the videos that we are seeing is like, oh shit, direct hit. Oh shit, direct hit. Yeah, good point.
Advanced with new modern threats. However, one thing is for sure. Russia is losing an astronomical number of tanks.
Facts.
Russia's incompetence has been their own worst enemy. Fuel logistics have left tanks stranded on the roads, air cover against drones has been lacking, and all too frequently we are seeing tanks without adequate infantry and artillery support to deter and defend against these anti-tank munitions. The importance of military tactics cannot be understated. Competent leadership and logistical support makes all the difference. In our ongoing series on Nebula, we explore the exemplary tactics of the RAF during the Battle of Britain. In this month's episode, we explore the doubt.
It's a commercial. I think that's it then for the Javelin. A piece of equipment being used by Ukrainian military. Let's check the latest on our list before we watch Rob from Speak the Truth to wrap up the day. According to Mayor Vadym Boychenko, oh, we gotta watch John first. John Sweeney. Before we do that, take a moment if you guys haven't and like the video, hit that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Again, I'm your host, Andrew Mercado, independent journalist, U.S. Army veteran. And I have been covering the war in Ukraine like this since day one. All right. Kyiv Diary Day 66. No Russian flagship in the Black Sea verified. John, orange hats in the chat. John's in the Black Sea.
Kyiv Diary Day 66. The electricity is still on, the internet is still on. There are no Russian flagships in the Black Sea. And I'm still wearing my lucky orange hat. I've been looking for the Russian flagship Moskva, but I think it's too deep for me to go. So, the war continues in the Donbass. The Russians are not making great advances. The Ukrainians are going backwards very slowly. This is good military tactics. And then sometime soon, we expect there'll be a counter. very interesting. And I fear the master of the Kremlin will not have it. Love from somewhere on the west.
Okay, well, he's got to be in Odessa then, right? There's no way he can't be down here. It said somewhere in the Black Sea. Can't be anywhere over here. That's all Russian now. Likely in Odessa. Or even over here under Moldova. Took a trip to the Black Sea. John, update from John. I think that's all. Well, I think I missed the day before too, because I wasn't live Friday. Here it is. Day 65, Russian missiles hit Kyiv.
Kyiv diary, day 65 of Vladimir Putin's war. Last night, while the UN Secretary General was in town, it's believed 5 cruise missiles were fired at the capital city. 3 of them were taken down by Ukrainian civil defense, AKAK, and this is the result of at least 1 that got through. 10 people were injured, 4 in hospital. The Ukrainians have been saying for some time that the UN Security Council is broken because the Russians keep on vetoing motions against their stupid and brutal war. And I agree with them. This is evidence that the 1945 peace settlement with Russia as a guarantor of world peace is broken and wrong, and this is not on. So
do you feel Russia should be, I'm asking the chat here before I continue, John, do you feel Russia should be labeled a terrorist state from everything that's been going on?
We've got to do something new to ensure world peace, and the first thing we've got to do is help the Ukrainians finish this war. The second thing is to call the Russian army to account for its war crimes. This is a civilian target. This too is a war crime. And number 3, we've got to shape a new world order where freedom and peace, democracy and the rule of law matter. And right now, Russia doesn't give a damn. So a simple message to Vladimir Putin: do fuck off. Love from Kyiv.
Vladimir Putin, do F off. So that was day 66 and 65 from John, since I missed it yesterday. Let's just go to our latest on our timeline. Video of a Russian BUK M3 air defense system in Ukraine. New video from John Lee. Get the very latest. Anything on the timeline that's been posted recently. The BUK M3 air defense system in Ukraine. I think we watched a video on that. It's got 2 silos on it. Have we watched a video on this thing? I think, no, maybe it was a different one. There's so many, y'all. I don't think we've seen this one yet. Can you tell us what it is? Not just showing its uses. And well, we can watch that. Absolute accuracy.
Russia showcase its newly armed BUK M3 missile system, demonstrating absolute 100% accuracy in live fire drills at Kapustin Yar in the Astrakhan region. The BUK M3 Multi-Missile Medium-Range Air Defense Missile System, ADMS, is part of the BUK missile series, a surface-to-air missile system developed by the Soviet Union that has been in service since 1980. The ADMS has the capability of autonomous combat operations at angles of depression to 5 degrees, and can be integrated into different air defense formations, including those equipped with radars of non-Russian origin.
It looks ugly as hell too.
The BUK M3 is designed not only to destroy aircraft of all types, but also to engage radio contrast ground targets and to defeat surface naval targets under conditions of intense fire and electronic countermeasures, besides to destroy ballistic missiles. The system range is 25 kilometers higher than the previous modified BUK ADMS parameters with a maximum interception height of 35 kilometers.
Wow. So that's the BUK M3 system in Ukraine. Russian Ka-52 helicopter in the Donbass. This was posted 16 minutes ago. That was posted 16 minutes ago. What do we got here? A low-flying Russian Mi-35M helicopter. That is very low-flying. Lots of low-flying helicopters. And a Russian Su-25 flying over Horlivka. Right. That's the Ka-52 helicopter in Kharkiv with Vickers 1 ATGMs and a BV-20. Look at that picture. That's a clear image of it. Mariupol, new video. That main street that I was able to find a camera on earlier in the stream. And UAV of the Mariupol. Here it is on the map. Showing the destruction of the residential areas within the city. Mariupol, southeastern port city. And let me see here. We got a video of it destroyed. We saw that. T-90 destroyed. And I think that's it from the timeline now. Saw the video Mariupol. All right, I think the last video it would be Rob from Speak the Truth video. He's been kind of our expert analyst video showing breakdowns of maps and then military movements. This was posted tonight. Video titled "Foreign Mercenaries Execute covert operations in Ukraine. As we're reaching the end of this stream, guys, if you're going to be up tonight, I do hope you guys join us on YouTube later on Snack Squad Gaming. I'm going to be streaming some video games tonight, like I've been promising. You'll see the Mercado Media news channel on there, so you know you're in the right spot. But I do plan to go live there about a half hour after the stream ends. So if you're going to be up tonight, I'm going to be over there. Bring your questions. I'll have answers. Staying on YouTube. Here we go. This is Rob from Speak the Truth. Like the video if you guys haven't. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel as well as Speak the Truth. They've been in our chat. They've been very nice. So here we go.
How are you guys doing? Welcome over here to the channel. I want to say thank you so much for getting us to 250,000 subs. That's pretty insane to me due to the fact that we were at or you guys are, or whatever, stuff platforms to get those exclusive draw up every single day. It's annotated. This thing is up to date as it possibly can get. This is the map of Ukraine. This is Russia over here, of course, you guys do know. But anyway, that's pretty much that. I want to start this video off by pretty much telling you guys, I want you to take a look at these uniforms. The Russian military is currently using these uniforms in their victory parade. And I don't think I
When is the victory parade?
need to point out the obvious here, and they're a little close, kind of extremely close to certain countries' uniforms back in World War II.
Actually,
please let me know in the comments down below what country these uniforms look, well, relatively close to, or pretty much identical. Somewhat ironic, because I thought they were coming into Ukraine to get rid of these. But anyway, the Department of Defense released a video showing the U.S. Army moving these M1113 APCs, by the way, that are bound for Ukraine. Let's go ahead and play that video.
These are those M113s we saw getting loaded.
Oddly enough, I was stationed.
May 9th, we'll definitely do. We might have to do a stream of watching the whatever time it is. It's going to be at a stupid time for everyone, but I'm going to be live, and we're going to have to probably watch it.
At the base that this thing is being filmed at, I can tell you the exact location where these things are being loaded. This was like the 5-mile turnaround point.
It's May 9th.
For me when I was in the military, when I was actually stationed there. We'd run to this area, turn around right before the sand hits the hardball, and that'd be like 2.5 miles. We'd run 5 miles. That was it. So it's pretty crazy. But these things are actually, I think they're a little outdated. And I don't really...
Yeah, they're super outdated. I was kind of subliminally asking the chat, you know, who's down with these M113s? United States is like, here, y'all can have these for real. Like,
really mind them giving them up. Yeah. They don't fit a lot of people. They're used for evac, transporting troops, and they're also used for motormen. That's pretty much it. They're real slow. They're kind of loud. They chew up a lot of fuel, but they're gonna do them well over there. I mean, they will actually utilize them. They won't be able to take a tank round or anything like that, but they can take small arms fire pretty well. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you guys did not know, there was another massive fire, on the most eastern side of Russia, just north of Japan on the island of Sakhalin. Here's a short video from the power plant currently on fire.
Again, this is he going to show in the... Nope. So this fire is in Sakhalin. Probably saying that incorrect. I'm probably saying that super wrong. Sorry, I gotta zoom out super far to get here. Here's where this fire is, all the way over here, north of Japan. Right here, island of Sakhalin. I'd rather walk than get in that dead.
And Russian state TV, yes, a military expert has apparently went on today's episode talking about filtration camps and how they could accept 100,000 POWs. I want to ask this military expert of the Russian state TV network, I want to ask, why isn't he helping his military actually succeed inside of Ukraine? Probably should go over there. If he's a military expert, he shouldn't be worried about these POW camps. He should probably be worried about, well, taking over the country they're currently invading. I'm going to tell you guys right now, we have some super highly classified leaked footage I want to share with you guys of the Navy SEAL program the Russian military is currently running. It is really, really... Go Navy SEALs.
Вот так Ласка и ее друг Винни-Пух приветствуют старших по званию. Ведь теперь они не обычные нерды, а бойцы байкальского спецназа. Ранний подъем, физическая подготовка.
Yeah, anyway, Russia...
Вот так Ласка и ее друг Винни-Пух приветствуют старших по званию. Ведь теперь они не обычные нерпы, а бойцы байкальского спецназа. Ранний подъем, физическая подготовка.
Yeah.
They probably would fight better than the Russian military would. And like it's funny because hold on. If you guys didn't know, we saw this at the end. Trained Russian Navy dolphins are protecting Black Sea Naval Base. And we learned about that. So Russia is actually using combat dolphins. So this report of the sea lions isn't too far off.
Anyway, Russian propaganda is one
more time.
Вот так Ласка и ее друг Винни-Пух приветствуют старших по званию. Ведь теперь они не обычные нерпы, а бойцы байкальского спецназа. Ранний подъем, физическая подготовка.
Yeah. Anyway, Russian propaganda is once again at making videos at their border. They're just really there. They're making powerful videos that show how powerful their convoys are and what they're doing for the greater good of the people of Ukraine. So here you go. Here's that video for you guys.
Are these Russian soldiers? Oh, they're taking their stuff.
But the problem with this video is we can prove that they're actually being shot at the border of Ukraine in the exact location. I actually have it. So I have the beautiful grid coordinate. All right, here is the exact grid coordinate of that. So if you guys are wondering, it's just on the Russian border. There's the border, as you guys can see right there. Just right there is where this is being shot. So the images I have on screen right now. So you guys see the images you guys see. They're going to help you with the visualizing what I just showed you. The one on the left on the screen is clearly a satellite image. And the one on the other side is actually from the video you just saw. Now, they need to probably make these videos a bit more difficult to disprove and maybe a little bit more believable, because this was literally filmed on the border between Ukraine and Russia, and these are just actors. So, way to go. We disproved a little bit more propaganda. So I want to share something.
So, yeah. So they were selling this. This was a selling point. What is this? What's going on here? This was a selling point from Russia, saying that this is their humanitarian aid, but this was actually in Russia. This wasn't even in Ukraine.
All right, here is the to Ukraine. So here is that. Take a gander of it, and I'll see you here in a second. And last but not least, another massive blow for the higher ranks of the Russian military. The Ukrainian army has now liquefied its 9th general so far, and it could be the 11th if you count the 2 unconfirmed that were down in Kherson. I'm going to say right now, but either way, this is another major general that has been killed.
So it would have been the 10th then. But still, right? You said the 9th and then the 11th. Did we miss the 10th? It was Andrei Simonov. Oh, I had it. It was from the Kyiv Post. Oh, we went through it at the beginning of the stream.
He goes by the name of Andrei Simonov down near the command post in Izyum. And I did not put an X over him, by the way. This is just the image that's floating around all over the internet as him in a dress uniform.
We need more confirmations. It's still early reports of it just from the Ukrainian authorities. But even the Kyiv Post and the Kyiv from Ukraine haven't been able to confirm whether or not it's been validated still. So we're still waiting for like official confirmation that that general has been taken out.
I actually couldn't find a normal one for some reason. It was actually much more difficult, but he was just KIA. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, I respect the Russian military to a certain extent, because I was, quote unquote, a soldier myself. So I'm not going to, and I don't know how to put this. I got to respect them to a certain extent. How about that? So I'm not going to make fun of them for being KA or anything like that. I'm just pointing it out just so you have an understanding. Now, when you lose a general like this, that is a big deal. That is a massive deal. This is probably one of the largest blows they've had in the last month or so. That is the Russian military. You're losing a man of this stature that's been around. I mean, this guy has to have been in the military for 20 plus years. You know what? You can't just replace that. You know, we're talking about expertise and knowledge on how to do things. That's really difficult to replace. So I just want people to know that also. A Russian ISR aircraft actually breached Swedish airspace today that had open skies written on the side of the plane in English. This is apparently a jab at a 2002 treaty which allowed countries from conducting ISR flights without breaching airspace. The U.S. actually withdrew from this in 2020 and Russia withdrew in 2022. The Swedish Minister of Defense said that this is completely unacceptable and violates Swedish airspace. He goes on to state that this thing's unprofessional and due to the security situation, it's extremely inappropriate. That's not really where I would have went with that, but you know what? It's fine. It's their airspace. I probably would have been a little bit more harsh, but oh well. So time to move over to some mapping. So we're going to go into Kharkiv. For everybody that doesn't know, it's going to be the more northern portion of this country, I guess, where the conflict is.
So they've got a couple small super chats quick from Coach Brian. Thank you, Andy, for your hard work. Subscribe to Snack Squad Gaming on YouTube. Thank you for that super chat. And then I could be wrong, but I believe Putin is sick and he's going out with a bang.
Right now, most of your conflicts are going to be down near here. Izyum, Severe, and Donetsk, which is over here on the most eastern side, and then Kharkiv. So we're going to go over to my handy-dandy close-up map because I want you guys to have an understanding. So here's the close-up map. So we're going to be talking about Kharkiv. Ukrainian forces have actually liberated a few towns over the last 24-ish hours just outside of Kharkiv. An assaulting element actually had pushed north and secured the town of Ruska Lazova. So right through here, there was actually multiple towns. Momotov was also another one. But here's Ruska and Lotova. So this area right here was actually mined. So this actually had mines in it. So I'm going to assume that they're going to be having to actually physically go and clear this entire area before any type of civilian population comes through. This other element that actually moved a little bit northwest, I think this is one of those type of things where I believe they're trying to push the Russian forces, is pretty evident, back towards the border, which they are doing. If you guys can look, over the last 48 hours, they've taken ground here, and up inside of this area. So they are effectively pushing the Russian forces back into Russia, back near Belgorod, which would be a big deal. Now, I do believe that they need to actually go over and push a little bit easternly, and they probably know it as well. There's a couple key areas, this area being one of them, which I already have indicated on here. This is going to be Vovchansk. So this area is going to be one of the main routes of coming in out of Russia, but I think Kupiansk is probably the biggest piece that they need to actually kind of throw a wrench in, because Kupiansk right now is where all the men, ammunition, food, water, just supplies in general, fuel is coming through there and then being dispersed out. So these Ukrainians need to find a route, a way over to disrupt these lines, which they're really good at. They're actually phenomenal at doing ambushes. They proved that in the north, and that's why the Russian military was not able to actually push into Kyiv, because they took over the routes going in. So I believe that's actually the goal. And I think they're going to be successful. I also want to show you guys a video of the civilians are being evacuated from these liberated areas.
Они автобусы за нами едут вообще?
Пока там стоят.
Залезут, поэтому будет не один заход. Вещи назад, люди вперед.
I just like imagine having to leave your house. And like that's their neighborhood, and they just grabbed a bag and they're getting out of there. And this is Ukrainian soldiers. You got the green, so green, blue, and yellow Ukraine.
Now, there hasn't been much change in the other side of this country when it comes to assaulting elements from either party. Now, I will say the Russians are pushing pretty heavily down here in the south side of Izyum, trying to get to Borenkov, which we know is down here. And there's also the supply line in between Sloviansk and Borenkov, which is a railway right here. So this railway is getting it's getting fairly close to being hit by the Russian forces when it comes to assaulting element that's pushing south right now. But they're trying to take over Sloviansk. They've been making very, very slow and grinding progress through Popasna. Oh no, it's not Popasna.
He keeps calling it that.
Popasna. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much that. I told you guys about a week ago, I thought the Ukrainian military was going to take back some ground inside of the Kharkiv area because the Russian military.
He said it wrong so many times. I keep almost saying Popasna. It's
Sorry,
Popasna.
they only have about 7 BTGs worth of men up inside of this entire area right here. Now, I thought that was a little thin, and I thought this would give the opportunity on, or the upper hand, I guess you would say, to the Ukrainian military to actually push through and take back more white space, and that's what they've been doing over the last week. I would assume by tomorrow they're probably going to continue to push forward, because a lot of the Russian elements have actually been pushed down through here. If they can continue to push them back into Belgorod, that could be a big deal. So we'll take note of that over the next 24 to 48 hours. We're going to move down to Mariupol right now. So down in Mariupol, for all you guys who don't know, we were just sitting up here in Kharkiv. We're going to move quite a bit south. This whole front has been shelled pretty heavily. Every single line across this southern, I guess the most northern front on the southern half of the country is currently under pretty heavy fire when it comes to assaulting Russian forces trying to find a gap in the Ukrainian defenses. Now, Russian sources are claiming that the United Nations that is, planning to evacuate the remaining civilians from inside Mariupol over the next day or so. I actually have a video I'd like to share for you guys for the convoy that is waiting to head into the area with a Russian escort. There's also been another mass grave found, and here's the satellite imagery that is about 7 miles outside the city of Mariupol. It has been said the civilian death toll inside of the city of Mariupol itself has now surpassed 20,000. That 20,000 is a death toll right now for civilians down in Mariupol itself. Now, down in Odessa, this is pretty much it. There has been a lot of change inside of Mykolaiv area, Kyiv. I have actually read, I'm not going to go in too much detail. There's a Canadian force, I guess you would say. They actually just did an operation overnight where they snuck into Kherson. So Kherson's right here from the outside of Mykolaiv. They're working on the outer edges of Kherson. They snuck into Kherson last night in the early hours wearing civilian clothes. They did an operation, and then they rode out on bicycle. So they went in dressed as civilians. They planted, which I would assume are going to be some sort of explosives, or got something behind enemy lines, or got
some sabotage,
some type of intel for a later strike. But I know that is something that did take place last night. So I'm actually fairly confident we should see something come out of Kherson. I've told you guys that I do believe the Ukrainians are trying to take back this area. This area is also heavily fortified by the Russians. They've been known to actually start, fortifying defensively this area, because they know that the assaulting force from the Ukrainians is coming down, because they have actually been refitted with troops from Odessa. So we do know that to be a thing. I do believe that they actually rigged the bridge into Kherson. All right, we're going to move over to Odessa, which...
Oh, that Ukrainian-Canadian Twitter? That's probably where it's from. Oh, is it the Canadian-Ukrainian Volunteer? Blocking troll accounts. Okay.
Which is just down in here. A large number of Russian missiles have actually struck Odessa International Airport this morning. The attack apparently left a massive crater in the runway, which has now made the airport completely inoperable. So, anyway, Transnistria, the last thing I want to talk about. I don't believe the Russian military, I don't believe there's a large enough force for them to even think about going after Moldova or anything like that. I don't think they're going to leave this area. So over the last 2 or 3 days, we talked about this. I don't think they're going to leave to go towards Odessa. They have no way to actually take it. They will actually get crushed if they do so. I've seen the equipment they're using there. They're not prepped and ready. I think that's pretty much it. If the Ukrainian military holds them off and out of Mykolaiv and not able to actually swing around Odessa, don't believe anything's going to happen there. So
that breakaway region in Transnistria. Again, that's Rob from Speak the Truth. Before we go, let's look at that up real fast. Moldova. Opinion, no. Ukraine war, Europe's entire future rests on Ukrainian victory, warns Moldovan minister. Speaking in the Moldovan capital of Chisinau, Nico Popescu, told Sky News that recent statements made by Russia are really worrying for his country. Moldova foreign minister has told Sky News that the future of his country and Europe depends on how the war in Ukraine ends. It's a frank interview, in a frank interview from his office in the capital of Chisinau. He revealed that Moldova is on a, quote, heightened state of alert. The future of Moldova and Europe rests on a Ukrainian victory. Forces in the breakaway region of Transnistria are staged in provocation. Moldova is, quote, not at the stage of talking about weapons supplies, but is cooperating closely with Western partners. So that is an update on Moldova. And that is going to be your update for this evening on day 66 for the coverage of the war in Ukraine. Thank you again, guys, so much for tuning in to independent media, to Mercado Media. I'm an independent journalist, U.S. Army veteran. I'm not sponsored by anyone. I'm not paid by anyone to do this other than those that wish to support, that watch, that tune in, that subscribe, that engage with the content. So today we covered Angelina Jolie visiting the city of Lviv, a possible 10th general killed in Ukraine, or 10th Russian general killed in Ukraine. There is a curfew in the city of Odessa from May 1st at 10 p.m. to May 3rd at 5 p.m. Fighting continues to the east in the Donbass region, but the Ukrainian forces have taken back 4 cities to the east of Kharkiv. So that is the latest in the movements around the country of Ukraine, and that is your war update for this evening. Please join us on Snack Squad Gaming YouTube channel tonight. I'm going to be streaming some, but I'm going to be streaming during the daytime as well to the YouTube channel starting this week. So if you can't stay up late, that's okay. I will be up after the stream for a while. I do hope to see you guys tonight. Have a wonderful evening. Take care, and thank you again for choosing independent media.